Welcome back, baseball fans. The 1974-77 off-season look, card set analysis, and today we've moved into the 1975 box for the first time. This would be the roster presently has 4 players from on each of the 32 teams, so 128 cards are missing, and this is the balance here. So we have the 32 teams. We can look at see what the keepers look like. The waiver list is really small now, by the way. We can look at this right now. As a matter of fact, it's only got 9 guys on it. And some of the guys, I think Gilbreth didn't have a waivered card in 74. So they go in waivers in 74. So by 75, they're probably even weaker, is the way we look at the waiver list. This is actually the retired list, as this is the waivered list. 9 guys on the retired list, that's right. Yeah, the waiver list doesn't have 64 guys, but it's pretty close, and we don't need to look at this right now. That's my rubber band color coding system not working efficiently for me. Okay, so we're going to do the American League East, take a break, and we'll do the American League North. We're going to look at 4 players that are on the keeper list and see if this is a year they may be kept in. There aren't any more protections of 1975. There were a year ago, now they go into the general population. We'll begin with Baltimore. You may or may not have all 4 keepers in any of the 4 years, actually. You'd like to have them in all 4 years, so you have 4 options to consider. This is one of the 2 Bunbury cards they like. This one in 77. You see he's hitting 269. The defense isn't there yet. Look, he's got a third base option, which is rather intriguing when you consider Brooks Robinson at the end of his career not hitting very well at third. You just get a left-handed bat at third, even with lousy defense. A guy, who really shouldn't be there, but kind of a fun card, a stealer, possible. This is Lee May's first year in Baltimore, 75. Not putting up the numbers he did with Houston or the Reds, but still a decent corner guy. Much like Al Bunbury, Singleton has 2 good cards in the same years, 75 and 77. He'll hit 300 here, he'll hit 318, hit 328, in 77. So Singleton and Bunbury, their futures are kind of linked as to who gets the 75 card, who gets the 77 card. Do they both go to the 77 card, which is better? And if you did that, then you have to wait on Eddie Murray. You couldn't bring up Ed Murray to your team. Grant Jackson, as he's getting older, he's not getting quite as dominant, so you want to get him closer to 73, 74. Here his ERA jumps from 190 in 73 up to 338, but still a very, very decent player, very good reliever. You'd play with this card, but if you could find better, obviously that's what the point of this exercise is. But it's good that Baltimore's got 4 solid options. Next up, your Boston Red Sox. The lone hitter in the list is Yastrzemski, and he had a couple 100-walk seasons in 72 and 3. Then he comes down to this in 74, I should say. He had 100 walks also. So the stats are down, but honestly, he's going to be pretty consistent throughout this timeline. I think he's got 28 home runs in one of the years. Might be 77. That's also a year where Dwight Evans gets significantly better. Sure, I mean, it's Yastrzemski. I don't necessarily I don't take a lot of time deciding which Yastrzemski card to take, because I know he's always on Boston, and he just fits around whatever else they have. Oddly, if he bows out and takes a lesser card, it means the other Red Sox teammates are going to be better. So that's the sacrifice Yastrzemski will make. Bill Lee, a starter 8, starts to put guys on here. 3.95 ERA in 260 innings, 17-game winner. You know, he's on a World Series team, so starter 8s are starter. You like starter 8s. It's an alright card. It's fine. It's nothing spectacular. Randy Moffett is going to be in their bullpen. He's got a better card in 76. This one's okay. 389. It's an alright card. You'd take it if you were stuck. And Roger Moret. Finally, are they going to let him be in the rotation after not having room in the rotation? Boston had a bunch of starters, not many relievers, so Moret had to go into the bullpen, but maybe it's time to just let him start. You could argue it's his best year. The one-loss record's amazing. Statistically, it's not that spectacular, really. The walks there aren't particularly nice, but starter 7, sure. I mean, it's 75 Red Sox. I mean, you know, this is their World Series year, so they should calibrate this to optimize their World Series window while they still have one for the Yankees to get better. And speaking of that, here we are, the Yankees. Now, this is a team with a big offseason ahead. They got to start competing for the division. They have not been recently. We are a year away or 2 years away from the 76 cards being gone, and then 2 more World Series years. So it's time to step on the gas here. They made the trade for Bobby Mercer 1 year ahead of time. So the 74 card or the 75 card would work. Only a single A stealer. Great card. He also has a card where he's a double A. He might be a 1 in right field in 74. I got to check that out again. Ultimately, Bonds can hang out here until they get Reggie. And I got some news for the Yankees. Oakland's not going to get rid of Reggie until they absolutely have to. So they're going to play Reggie through his 75 card. And then maybe he doesn't go to Baltimore and then goes to the Yankees with a 77 or beyond card. But Bonds will have to be here for the next 2 years. Reggie's going to be in Oakland for 2 more years. Okay, Munson. Another great card that may be slightly better than an MVP card. And the arm improves after a little bit of a lull. Well, I wouldn't call it a lull. I think he had an injury in 73, 4, 5, and it hurt his throwing arm. But here it's back. But by the MVP year, it's a -2. It's kind of nice to have all the other positions just to get him into the lineup, and more often, so he doesn't have to catch every day. 318, 12 dingers for the Yankee captain here. Wow, I really like this card. I might like this more than his MVP card. -3, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it just scares teams away from stealing altogether. That's a good thing. Lenny McDaniel has a nice card here. A righty who gets lefties out of the bullpen. We'll take it. Yeah, sure, he's not that great against righties. I think he's got one more good card in this timeline. Well, we like this side, and again, we don't, he's vulnerable over there, but at least it's not home runs, but you get him to use situationally over there. It's easier to find a righty who gets righties out. I think they're going to have 2 lefties in the rotation. They're going to have Guidry will probably be added to the 77 card. Doc Menace goes by George now. Dominates righties as a starter 8. Lefties knock him around a little bit. 16 and 16, 351 is fine. Again, he's more of a 3 than a 2 here. You'd like your number 1 and number 2 to not be vulnerable on one side. Long ball, triple, double. Oh, I hate that. And the hits. Great overall here as a starter 8. You load up with lefties, it could present problems with that card. American League East should be a real dogfight, though. I think all 3 of those teams pull them out of a hat. I don't know who has an advantage between Baltimore, Boston, New York. And then you have Toronto. Finally getting into their actual existence in 77, but we're not there yet. We still got these fictional cards. Coggins, we are going to probably select his 74 card, which is his last good card in his career. This one's not very good. Sosa's got a really good 77 card. Relief 2, starter 5. I don't know if I've seen that before. Interesting. 430, probably not. Clyde Wright, this is a nice little card for Clyde. Starter 6 is a southpaw. Walks I'm not crazy about. I can tolerate the homers as a lefty-lefty. It's good to not see him on the right side, but you see the extra base hits. This is a kind of ordinary card for Clyde, 4.45 ERA. You might want to get him in 74 as well. So those are the options for the Blue Jays. They only have 3 options. The other guy that is Buddy Bradford. Or not, Jerry Hairston, excuse me. Jerry Hairston, or is it Buddy? No, it is Buddy Bradford, who they'll take in 74. All right. We'll do a pause, and then we'll go into the American League North. So stay tuned. All right, we begin in the American League North, beginning with the Expos. Incrementally getting better. We've been adding the pieces. Larry Parrish, Gary Carter, Ellis Valentine. But we still have the old guard in place, and they don't want to leave, and why would they? Look at this nice Bob Bailey card. Homers and walks. Plenty of on base for this guy. Fun guy. Third base and left and DH. He's a C-stealer. My goodness. Fun little card for Bob Bailey hitting 273 with a ton of walks and 200 some at-bats. 5 home runs. Yeah, that'd be a fun card. All right, so Willie Davis is still 2 in center field. That's fine. He's also a 2 in 74. I think he's an A stealer. We'll take the B stealer. B hit and runner. Great base runner. He'll roam center field until Andre Dawson arrives. Of course, Andre Dawson may be arriving right now this year, so it's something to think about. If you did add, let's say you did add Andre Dawson this year, maybe you go to the 74 days, because you're only going to need him for like 1 more year. Because Dawson, you want him to be your everyday center fielder anyway, but really hits righties better than lefties. He's like almost a platoon player with this card. Another fun, the old guys, Bob Bailey and Ron Fairley, they don't want to leave. They got these really cool cards. Look at the on base for Fairley. And what is he hitting? He's hitting 301. Again, was with a different team. He's the Cardinal. Of course, he is still an Expo. But it's the same deal. 40-some-odd walks and 200 and some plate appearances. Almost carbon copies of each other. Look at that. Fun stuff. Good defense at first. My goodness, he's a trade chip because you got Mike Jorgensen playing first. Actually, matter of fact, hold on here. You might want to get this guy, have Jorgensen play out his 74 card and let him go. And then next year, Fairley would move back to his rightful position, first base, as a platoon player. So that's fine. Steve Rogers has a bunch of nice cards. This is a decent one. 73 was amazing. 74 was kind of a letdown. 75, he's back doing great stuff. And 77, he's probably got his best year in the timeline. But we'd take this if we couldn't get into 77. Let's say you want to go Dawson Cromartie in 77, and you go Rogers here. Let's say you don't want to bring up both the guys at once. You go with Rogers 77 to give him a 4-year contract. Good options. So far, all the teams have nice options. Next, your Cleveland Indians. Boy, they really need a nice... They've had a nice couple of off seasons. They've added some nice pieces in the last 2 drafts. They added Dwayne Kuiper, Rick Manning, Dennis Eckersley, and Jim Kern, but they just can't seem to get to the top of the division. I don't get it, other than it is those guys who played for Cleveland that were responsible for them not getting to the top of the division, you know? So by following Major League Baseball history, I'm allowing Cleveland to not do much in the 1970s. Maybe they got to go out of their lane and get in a free agency or something. All right, Buddy Bell is just getting incrementally better, but nothing splashy yet for a 271 hitter. That's an all right card. Fossey, he's got better cards than this, both defensively and offensively. He's got a -3 arm card with no bat, and he's got a 306 card with no glove. This is neither. Hilgendorf, this is probably your lefty situational setup guy. Yeah, this is your lefty setup guy. You trade Ramon Hernandez. Hilgendorf had gone to Philadelphia by then, so you would hold on to him. Yeah, you want this Hilgendorf card, definitely. Of the 3 so far. And Fritz Peterson's still kicking around as a starter 6 here. Look at him get lefties out. Boy, I wish he could go to the bullpen. He'd be really more valuable in the bullpen as a lefty killer. Righties, it's okay. We saw Clyde Wright's card, very similar to this. Probably 74 is going to be better. Look at that, 75, he's still... And then he's gone. He just disappears after a full season. He doesn't really have a terrible card of any of his years. Looks like 1975 is very kind to these players. It might be continuing this rather interesting trend of the alternating years, the odd number years, being better offensive years denoted in Strat-O-Matic cards going back to 1971. I know it's strange to bring this up right now, but if you want to take a deep dive into your Strat-O-Matic collection, the odd numbers 71, 3, 5, 7, and 79 are all great performances in there, okay? 72, strike year, not so much. 74, 76, that was a lousy year other than Mark Fidrich, who saved baseball in 76. 78, another mediocre year. And that's your decade. So the odd number years are better card sets. If you're going out there trying to find yourself an original, an original Strat-O-Matic card set, right? Of course, you get 75, you get the shiny texture here. But find an odd number year in the 70s if you don't have any. And you're going to have a fun time with that card set, I guarantee you. If you get an even numbered year card set in the 70s, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but they're going to print a lot of players who are just not fun to look at or play. It's like stay on the bench and don't get them into the game. I mean, what's the point, right? So, back to the program. Detroit Tigers. Hey, Jim Northrup, this could be versatile. So 74, you're going to probably go K-line, Hiller. So if you can go 75 Northrup here, I know it's like 270 in a platoon, but you got to remember these old Tigers are now starting to fade. They really are, which is kind of predictable. Not a lot you can do about it. It's baseball history. They're going to probably be fighting for 500 next year. He went to Baltimore, but the Tigers could keep him going in Detroit with this card. Hiller is still great in 74, but this card is okay. It would serve as a closer. 215, 71, definitely. Out. Actually, if you could actually go 75 Hiller if you want to go 74 Northrup and 74 K-line. So, you got to decide which of K-line, Hiller, and Northrup, which pair do you want in 74? Obviously, it has to be K-line because he retires. And that's that. That's all we have. Just 2 guys. I'm kind of liking this Hiller card more I look at it. Because of that out there, and you want that out there. Doubles you're not crazy about, but at least they're not homers. And then you get an out there. And it's 2.15 ERA. I mean, it's definitely, look, if you go 74 Hiller, you'll go to 75 Hiller in the following year. So it's not that you'll end up with this card anyway, is what I'm saying. And the last team tonight, a very surprising team, the Ohio Players fictional team. You've been following both of my leagues, the Fall League, which is a kind of a free agent league, They have been dominant in the early 1980s. But right now, they finally got into the playoffs and did it with the veteran players. Might as well go through all these guys. Take a little bit deeper dive. Let's go through all these players. Driesen's contract up. He's got a 300 year in 77 with Cincinnati. This is a runner-up to that. That's fine. Carlos May really struggled with a 73 card that was, well, 20 homers and 95 RBIs. It didn't produce. This looks like it could be a producer, though, with the walks and hits. You don't suffer too much if he was an everyday player. His defense was always pretty bad. 271. Bill Robinson, he'll have a few good cards in this timeline as well. Good defense always. Yeah, this is workable. I wouldn't mind any of these cards, particularly as we know this is an expansion team. So, yeah, I'd go Driesen, May, and Robinson if I could take them all this year. So they have plenty of options. And they keep pushing Tom Hall until he's, as much as they could get out of him, because he throws it left-handed, and lefties are so hard to find. Let's call him a lefty who can still get lefties out. Let's look at the 10 split there, no homers there, yeah, the walks. And let's kind of forget what happens over here. And let's just call him a lefty who gets lefties out with a 4.57 ERA. This card, Tom Hall will be playing baseball in my league, either with this card or another one, even with a 4.57 ERA, because there's not many left-handed pitchers who you can work into the league. So let's go with a little deeper dive and see who else is here. Meaning, who else is on this team with a card in a different year? And Dave Cash, yeah, of course, he's got a 74 card. But his 75 card, he's still 2 at second base, and he's hitting 305. So again, great news. George Hendrick. We think we can bump him up to his 77 card, which is awesome as a Padre after leaving Cleveland. But this card is also good. Larry Lentz is only an ace stealer after his present card's a double ace stealer. But again, we love our base stealers if they can get on base, and Larry does for at least a couple of years in his career, 74 and 75. It's the average. Yeah, 207. What are the walks at? 26 and 150. So it's his on base around 280, 290. Doc Ellis. 76, he's got his big year with the Yankees. I think it's his last year in Pittsburgh here. Not that much. Rudy May, he'll pitch all the way through the 1980s. And you know what? The Ohio players are never going to give this guy up. He is the perfect player for an expansion team. When a guy gets traded around, California Angels, Baltimore, New York Yankees, the Expos are in there somewhere, all those teams, Ohio players say, no, you don't have to travel anymore. We'll find you a place to live here and you'll love it. You get to stay here for your whole career. You don't have to move. And Rudy May will be an Ohio player for the foreseeable future. What a great year that is, of many great years. A Hall of Very Good player. Not Hall of Fame, of course, but Hall of Very Good. Shame his career didn't last longer. He had some nice years from, I think, 69, 70 through 82, 83. Just not a long enough career for all-star consideration there. Lynn McLaughlin, still a starter 8 here. 74 is probably his best year. 75 is totally workable here. He had very little on the high side. We'll live with it. And we had this Vita Blue card 2 years ago. First pick in the draft. Starter 8, 20-game winner. 22-game winner. Well, we bumped him up to his 76 card, which is one of the best cards in the American League. So you see, the pieces are in place for an expansion team to have, you know, pretty good success through this decade. Now you start to see that Cleveland and Detroit, you know, why they might start to struggle. The Expos and the Ohio players may be the future in this division. Certainly the Expos, they've had one of the best farm systems from you know, all the way through the early 80s. Wait till the pitchers start to arrive. The Scott Sandersons and Charlie Lees and Schatzeders and so forth. So, yeah, Expos are the team to watch in that division. So we've looked through 2 divisions. We're going to pause tonight, and we'll finish the rest of the American League next week. Thanks for checking out the card set analysis for 1975, first time through. We'll see you next time.